How's it going, everyone? I am the Shaz here with your third SBL video. This SBL, depending on how the global calendar shakes out, seems like it will be right around the September Fest banner, bridging September and October, and will be lasting roughly 4 days. Before we begin, a friendly reminder to make sure you do your daily voltage runs to get those sweet star gems for the overall voltage ranking at the end of the event. And with that, let's get started. The group that gets the stat bonuses this time around is the second years. Oh boy, buckle up for some Fessetsun of Fesio Umitu spam. Also, don't be surprised if you see a lot of max limit break snow halation Kotoris floating around. Why do I say all of this? That's because the songs for this SBL are Bokura no Life Kimi to no Life, or Borarara, Torikoriko Please, and Chase. The muse song for this SBL is Borarara, which is far and away the most difficult song of this SBL. The overall song gimmick is an uncleansable SP gauge gain for off-attribute cards, which may not seem terrible, but your first AC depends on a gauge pop, so it doesn't make things easier, unless you use SP type cards who get their gauge gain increased by 30% for the entirety of the AC. The second AC has a 300k voltage requirement, which seems easy until you remember that during the AC, base appeal of voltage type cards is reduced by 20%. So hoping to quickly brute force that with 6 max voltage crits is harder as well. The last AC is a 140k gauge pop that has the same gimmick as the first AC, but because of the higher requirement, will probably require 2 gauge pops unless you have very strong natural attribute cards to take advantage of the attribute match bonus you normally get from songs. Now, as far as voltage MVPs go, I have a feeling you'll most likely see some people try to brute force the song with the high scoring second years, or the more classic approach to the song, which is 2 frontline strategies, one during the ACs and one outside of the ACs. For the 2 frontline strats, you'll definitely see some 3 voltage combos in there, but then I also expect to see a bunch of Fes Emma Fes Umi on the second frontline, specifically for the ACs. SP Psycho Cheesers don't get let off the hook either. While yes, you can get around the overall song gimmick with gauge fill tap active cards, you still have to remember that their normal SP gauge gain gets decreased if they're off attribute or off type during the ACs. This factor will most likely lead SP cheesers to resort to a 2 frontliner strat as well. However, it would possibly revolve around your secondary strat being on attribute and type as much as possible. This could possibly result in a lineup that could have 1 frontline strat with a combination of off-attribute gauge fillers, then a secondary frontline of Fes Emma, Fes Umi, and Toki Runner's Kanata for appeal chances. Skill cheesers, I don't know what to say. I've been racking my brain on what to expect team build wise outside of the normal Fes Yoha plus skill activation rate up tap active spam, or whatever may have gotten you skill MVPs in the past. I guess you could make a case for plugging in Fes Emma to help deal with ACs and such, but even her addition in any strategy would decrease your maximum skill activation potential. If you're truly going for max skill activations, this would probably be an instance where you'll see a lot of Cheerleader Ruby and Snow Halation Ellie in people's backlines, since their LSAs activate upon AC failure, which you can easily try to do. The Aqua song this time around is Torikoriko Please, which has an overall song gimmick with an SP gauge gain decrease of 25% for off-attribute cards, but this one is cleansable. As far as the ACs go, they're all the same. All voltage based with a 20% gauge gain increase for other elegant attribute cards. Much like Borarara, because the overall song gimmick only affects SP gauge gain, the triple voltage brute force strategy will still be viable for voltage MVP runs. The only possible deviation that may work would be the inclusion of something like a high limit break Dia 1, Fes Kotori, or Fes Pana, but I don't think the trade-off between a more consistent 50k tap would be worth it for possibly just 1 or 2 additional SP gauge pops. This is just my personal opinion, however, and I don't know what limit break your cards are. Just remember to do some testing beforehand. Remember the stat bonuses and you'll be fine. SP cycle cheesing for this song is really interesting to me from a team building perspective. I could easily see a double gauge fill strat being pretty viable here, especially if you have stuff like a high limit break, SR Cheerleader Rico, Snow Halation Nozomi, Yohane 1, and have a switch cleanser that can proc early. This strategy would require 3 other gauge fillers other than Yoho 1 in your main filling strategy and utilizing Yoho 1 in the elegant only gauge fill strat, but it will probably be hard to execute if you have a limited card pool. The other option could be a straight elegant gauge gain strategy featuring Fes Kotori, but this strategy feels weaker than the gauge fill strat in my opinion. For skill cheesers, you shouldn't need to deviate from your main strategy, so just do what you do best. Finally, the Niji song is Chase. Well, as expected, here's where you will see the highest rate of Fes Setsuna, Fes Yo, Umitu spam. But before we get into that, let's just do a quick refresher on a breakdown of the song. A cleansable 10% off attribute debuff, which is only a problem if you're not running Fes Setsuna and or Umitu. The song features 7 appeal chances, all voltage based, so having strong bracelets will be a key, no matter what MVP you are gunning for. Voltage MVPs? Who the hell am I kidding? Fes Yo, Umitu, Fes Setsuna. That's what you're gonna see lined up in that order since Yo has an appeal buff tap active. If you don't have a high scoring Fes Yo, then you'll probably see Kanan 1 or a Honoka 3 in that slot, whichever ends up with a higher base appeal after the stat bonuses. Aside from that, if you have some pretty high skill level, high limit break UR bracelets, and have non-active attribute cards in your main scoring strategy, putting in a Fruits Nico SR, Kasumi 1 UR, or Soreboku Nozomi SR could be viable, since your first SP gauge pop will come early, giving you a second chance to cleanse, even if a switch cleanser doesn't activate. Also, because there are 7 appeal chances in this song, if you clear them quickly, remember that you won't take damage until the end of the AC, meaning you may be able to get away with less stamina stick backliners than you think you'll need. SP Cycle Cheesers will most likely run their default lineups, focusing on their highest percentage gain gauge fill cards, and enhancing extra gauge pops by backlining Cheerleader Kanan, and for this particular song, Fes Karen. Why Fes Karen? For those of you that may not be super keen as to what Fes Karen's LSA is, it adds 10% of her own appeal to the SP gauge at the completion of an appeal chance, activating at a 30% rate. 7 appeal chances in this song makes this the best opportunity for you to utilize Fes Karen as a backliner. Skill cheesers still have nothing to worry about that would force a switch off of their normal cheese team, but you may see backline additions of cards like Maki 1, Noza 1, Mari 1, Koto 2, Pana 2, Rico 2, Yohane 4, Fruits Rin, Snow Halation Rin, Orarara Honoka, and Rainbow Rose Setsuna. Because of the frequency of the appeal chances and how early the first appeal chance is, I could easily see some skill cheesers prioritize Maki 1 and Snow Halation Rin as backliners, since they increase the skill activation rates of all members for the remainder of the live show, versus the rest of the cards which only increase skill activation rates for a set amount of nodes at the beginning or upon completion of an AC. And with that, we are finished with this video on what to expect for the second official SBL. Once again, a big thank you to Xifrid for help with some of the visual assets for this video. If you need to do a quick refresher on card abilities, make sure to head over to kachigen.com for all your all-stars needs. If you enjoyed the video and would like to support my work, share this video, subscribe for free here on YouTube, Follow me for free on Twitch over at twitch.tv/IamTheShaz and join my Twitch channel Discord. Links will be in the description below. If my Twitch and or YouTube content is worthy enough and you would like to support monetarily, you can subscribe to or give bits on my Twitch channel. It is never required of you as a viewer, but always greatly appreciated. Finally, a big thanks to my Twitch subs, SIFAS, 86 Romy, Minomone, Shut-It, Poker Dottie, and AJ Bailey 3, most of whom have gifted subs in the channel as well. I've been I Am The Shaz, take it easy, be nice to each other, and I'll see you all next time.